Good evening, folks. We're back again. It's Tuesday. This week, we're going to talk about creative financing with JB. I've been talking about saving your money, getting your life together, and enjoying some things. We got my main man, Roger Turner, on this week from Turner Fashion Warehouse. He's going to let you know a little bit about it for all y'all out there looking to look nice, trying to turn it up a little bit, trying to enjoy the spotlight. Big and slim guys, because y'all seen a couple of my fits, but I ain't gonna talk about that. But you're looking at the man that's standing behind that already. We're gonna talk about Mr. Turner here. Can you hear us still, Mr. Turner?
I sure can. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're gonna give a little bio about how we get into this fashion cuisine and the regime and all of that good stuff.
Okay. I mean, pretty much for me, man, I was doing things back in high school. One of the things that was I was trying to do, because I was in school, I was in a trade, graphic arts. And what happened was I needed to fill my classes. I needed to fill my schedule. And so in doing so, the only thing I could find was home ec. Cooking and sewing, right? And it was only to fill my schedule. And so I ended up having to take the class, having to do the work. And once I graduated and everything, that was a skill set that I never thought that I would use again, other than cooking, right? And so as time went by, a partner of mine, he did sculptures, paintings, and things of that nature. So we decided we wanted to go in business together. Unfortunately for him, we had asked his dad for, to be a part of it, because his dad used to have a store as well in New York. And so what we did was all three of us were going to get together, partner up, and get these businesses going. And so lo and behold, his father didn't want to be a part. He said, so Raj, listen, I'm backing out. Dad ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it. That left me standing saying, okay, well, do I just put it down or I go move forward? So I moved forward. And that was back in like 1989, actually. And so, yeah, so we're looking at about 34, 35 years, man. Of me doing this. We started out, I started the business. I was designing and making clothing in 1990. Okay. And so kind of that's where it really all started. I started there still working full time and putting in the work, doing some sewing and buying fabric and things of that nature. So, I mean, it's been something that, once I got started, I couldn't put it down. So right up that led me right up into open a men's retail clothing store, right? That gave me an opportunity to not only carry some things that I was making into the store, but also using other vendors that had suits, slacks, and the whole gamut. And so my niche was, even when I had when I was just doing custom clothing, was always big and tall, right? I would always, service the small guy, but the market for big and tall was always an underserved market. And so for me, it was an easy catch because most of my family were bigger than me. You know what I mean? And they always wanted stuff. Yeah. So it was easy, right? In that sense of meeting the target market. And so from that point, having Rogers Menswear to now doing Turner Fashion House, the only difference in what we're doing now, I've included my family to be a part of what we're doing now. So, and it's a blessing. So we're looking up and doing some great things in years to come.
That sounds awesome, and you said something key there, family, including family into that business. And we fail to do that sometimes. Raj, when we go through there, we think we can step outside the boundary of family and find somebody that's going to bond with us and everything. And we don't. But 34 years, that's a wonderful tribute to be able to design and take the time and, to be that long. It's got to be a love for it. It's got to be a love. It's got to be a passion for it.
Yes, sir. And you said a mouthful when it comes to, family. My corporation is Kanique, which is my two daughters' names. You know what I mean? So, and from the very beginning, when I really stepped into the men's clothing store, that was the opportunity for me to have my kids
Mhm.
involved at my store almost every day. From school, they practically lived in the store, and so
Wow.
it was one of those things where I had to involve them. I felt like it was going to be something that I was going to be doing for a long period of time, so their names had to go on uh, every document that I had. So, and that's how I pretty much set it up.
Yeah, and that's so key because we talk about generational wealth,
Exactly.
generational building. We're talking about along the business side of it, and get in. A lot of folks might say, "Man, it's hard to deal with family, in the business." But for this thing to pass on, you have
Yeah.
to teach them little
Yeah.
by little. But and folks, I just want to be clear. I done bought a gamut of clothes. I love my clothes that Roger has made for me. But I want to just, it's so unique. And he opens my eyes to different things when it comes to it. But Roger, just tell us how you creativity. Where did that come from? I mean, of
Well,
designing.
yeah. So for me, man, it's weird because a lot of people have the tendency to look at other people's stuff. I do,
Hmm.
but not in a sense of trying to mock them. My thing
Hmm.
has always been Lord has always allowed me to go before. Like when I started sewing and making clothing in the beginning, he
Hmm.
gave me visions for what I should make a person. Like I could tell by their size, their body type, and everything, and be able to describe to them, not even draw or sketch it out and tell them what I could make. Once I made it, they be going, "Oh wow, oh man, I didn't know you could do." You know what I mean? So it was blowing them away. So I very seldom sketch up anything because I know if I sketch it, I ain't gonna make it. I better sketch it
Mm.
in my mind, and that way I can hold on to that and be able to make the garments to fit you.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and
kind of how the Lord deals with me.
yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Be creative to make sure that it fit in. You said something earlier about you wanted to do that big and tall thing, which it's hard for us as big men. I'm out here, I'm a big man. It's hard for us to find some good clothes that fit decently,
Yeah,
and you just got to keep looking for it. So that special technique to find that big and tall, just to look as good as a skinny man. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
You shouldn't be slighted because you're larger size, right?
right,
And so
right.
that's what I always thought. You know what I mean? Doing this when I was in the store, one of the things I did was I was from like small or medium to like 7 or 8X. I grew to that size,
Mm.
right? But traditionally, when I first started up, it was from medium to 6X. So I mean, just the awareness once people gravitated and understood that I was doing larger sizes, the guys would always constantly come and shop. So that was always a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So one of the questions, right? Describe your design process. I mean, you said that you see something, you think that in your mind. How do you illustrate that to I'm a seamstress.
Right.
I'm going to sew this thing. How do you do that process?
Okay. So one of the things that I do is, of course, when it comes to designing, for me, it's like a photographic memory, right?
Mm,
Um, and again, it's all an individual. So if I made something for you, Johnny, in a particular
mm,
fabric, if I made it for somebody else, it would look different. So I'm not going to duplicate that design. So what happens is after getting your measurements, having a consultation with you to see what color, what did you have in mind, really
mm,
to understand what you really want because it's not a one-way thing where I just see you and I make it for you. No, we're gonna have some type of collaboration where you
mm,
have input, and that
mm,
input allows it to be original, right? Because
mm,
that means I'm not making it according to somebody else's outfit. I'm making it according to you. So that's
mm,
the plus.
mm. And how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and
Well,
the
yeah,
double
man.
breasted, the single breasted,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a guy that I believe in. Fashion is one of those things where, depending on what your taste is,
Hmm.
that's what's in. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That's what's in,
mhm.
because we know that the older generation wants to look different than the younger generation, right? We don't always want the slimmer fit. We don't always want it to fit as tight as, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
if that's your style, that's your style. So
Mm.
why not make the garment where you're comfortable? You know, so that's pretty much how I go about designing and making my clothing, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you might get a little criticism here and there.
But hey,
Um
man, you spending your money, right? Spending your money, man.
That's right. That's right. And folks, I want to pull across the screen www.turnerfashionhouse.com. Reach out, check it out. You're going to see that come across the screen, so you can be able to go up there, look, check it out. You'll see some designs. You'll see some creative stuff for big men, small men. It's really an interesting design for you to have that opportunity. I know that I struggle going into as a big man going into a suit store to get a suit. I mean, it was a plain suit, a two-button suit, nothing nice about it. I looked at like the ordinary guy out there. And at some point in time, you want to step out of that realm for it. And a good friend of mine that's passed away, Emery Marshall, he used to go, and we had some suits and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you gotta check this out." And man, I tell everybody, "Yo, where you get this from?" I was like, "Roger did this stuff. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he was thinking." We had a conversation.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's like Batman and Robin. I'm coming out with a cape on.
Yeah,
And people
yeah,
trying to figure it out. And I think Chuck had a question right there, came across the screen there, and we don't want to belabor it. How would you describe your style and fashion?
well, I'm definitely a fashionable guy when it comes to colors, styles, you know what I mean? Patterns, definitely, definitely up to date and current, right?
Mhm.
And the reason why I say that, because some guys will come in because they had a suit from yesteryears. They still want to duplicate that fabric, and it's almost impossible. We can get you some of the closer to the colors, but at the same time, things have changed. So I'm always up to date, you know, well rounded, and we definitely get it done. So that's how I would basically describe it, man. Up to date and current.
Yeah. Tell me, have you ever had a challenging project of designing something that you like, wow, this is going to take a lot of thought to put through?
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And it mainly comes from when I was doing women's clothing, because that's
Mm.
tedious work, right? So I've gotten to the point where I just pretty much won't even touch that anymore. I mean, and I don't mind, right? I
Right.
normally, man, when I get something going, I'm up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning getting it done. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
So, but I must also enlighten you guys too that I don't only sew. I do have vendors that I use. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm, hmm.
when you check out the website, it's going to be a nice conglomerate of things that they'll see. So right now we're uploading things like suits and shirts and ties and stuff like that. Very soon, because we're constantly updating, you will see some pieces of from our custom collection. So again, always doing something. But yeah, man, I mean, it's dealing with women's items is beautiful once it's done, but it sure is tedious, and it takes a while to get it done.
So, Roger, would you make a woman suit if a woman came and said, "Hey, I
Yeah,
want to
so
suit"?
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've already started dabbling in it, man. You know,
Mm.
we don't want the ladies to feel left out, right? So we got some
Right.
nice suits that we've been doing. They
Mm-hmm.
select the fabric and lining and all that good stuff. They see some pant sets or skirt sets that they wanted to have done to get done, and pretty much we've been getting done and been spot on with it, man. Stuff has been coming out beautiful, man.
Wow. And fabric is so tricky. I know we done talked about it when I'm there with you. I mean, it's just so some fabric is a wool fabric.
Yeah, you
I,
got
I,
wool,
I
you
mean,
got wool blends, you got a number of things, right? And how about the denim? The denim even wears and
yeah,
fits differently. Yeah.
right,
So yeah,
right.
it's a wide range of stuff that you can use. And right now, excuse me, we're actually, doing your better wools, right? Where your super
Mhm,
120s, 130, 140s, in a number of color variations. So, I mean, some beautiful stuff, man.
mhm. Well, and they probably don't understand super 120s, 130s,
Okay,
140s.
so just like your sheet counts that you put on your bed, where you have 300 count, 400 count, the same thing applies when you're dealing with clothing, right? It
Mhm,
means stitches per square inch.
mhm,
Okay, and that's what it means. So when you get something that's 100% wool and it's just a regular stitching, when you get
mhm,
super 110, 120, when you get those numbers behind it, it means the stitching is a lot tighter, a lot finer. So it's something that you may
mm.
not want to wear all the time. It's something that you can say, okay, this is a piece where I'm gonna wear it to something special.
Right.
But if you wear it a lot, you will wear it out. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, you'll damage the fabric.
Damage
So,
the fabric. It's
yeah.
and marketable. Being innovative and the designs being marketable. Do you see designs that you like? Hey, if we converted this, it might have a better outlook on it, or
From
how?
somebody else's collection?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because customers do come in and saying, I've seen this. They show me a picture, you know?
Hmm.
Definitely, man. I see ways that it can be, switched over and done a little something else with it. Absolutely. No.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
being creative, man. You know what I mean? That's the part of being creative. Taking an original design and then doing something totally different with it where it doesn't even look like the person or look like what the person brought in.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And vendors, I mean, it's probably so many designs you get to see and
Oh
catalogs
yeah. Fabrics. Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's,
fabrics
it's
and stuff.
amazing, man. This is an amazing industry, man. It still gets my juices flowing all the time, man. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I get when I see fabric, man, I say, okay, automatically I get a vision of what kind of suit,
Mm.
what kind of set I can make from this, or a slacking shirt, a sport
Mm.
coat. Some
Mm.
fabrics I would just play as a sport coat. Simple as that.
Mm.
You
Just a
know what I mean?
sports coat.
Just a sport coat. I could check when I look at fabric, I see exactly what I can make out of
Wow.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
So
For
that's
some things are suits, some things are just jacket, some
some
things are
things are shirt and pants sets, you
mm.
know.
What fabrics are the hardest to work with?
Well, silks.
Silks.
They're real slippery.
Really?
Yeah, silks are real fine and real silky, man. Yeah, they're the
Mm.
toughest. So I stick with the wools. I stick with the wool blends, stuff like that when it comes to, because your silks, you're really gonna do shirts and things of that nature. Yeah.
Mm. Do you
But
design patterns? I remember back in the day, I used to see my mom. Remember them patterns she used to pin, and they used to.
yeah, man. We have a ton of them. We have a ton.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I'm
So,
graduating, brother. I'm graduating because, we have a manufacturing house in Ghana. And so what we've been doing is working with those fellas, and then what they've done is when I give them the design, they're making patterns for me. So we'll
mhm,
constantly have it. But doing individual custom work, um, it's not like trying to do a mass production. When you go to mass production, that's when you really want to have your patterns, right?
mhm,
Because it's basically cut them, cut to a certain size. You're gonna have mediums, you're gonna have large, you're gonna have extra large. But with custom, man, you doing individually.
mm. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what I was gonna tell them. Y'all got to check out the Turner Fashion House. I mean, check out some of those custom made blends. They measure you for your size. I mean, it's exactly perfect for you, for it, and it's all different types of suits, all different types of blends, for it. And I know Roger done had a couple of events where he was just showing the different type of stuff that you have and how you put stuff together and how you match it up, and it's amazing because it took me a while to get out that white shirt and blue tie white shirt, and kind of step out of
Yeah,
the box on that stuff because it's hard to choose from, but it's stylish. It looks nice for it, and go from there. And with this design, and Roger, I know the timelines and the long hours are in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
How do you overcome that? I mean, is it a stopping point to say slow down, don't do it, or you just got to keep pushing?
Well, I mean, you get your breaks, right? And when you get
Mm-hmm.
your breaks, man, you got to take advantage of it.
Mm,
That's pretty much where it is for me. But I mean, so for me, it's always been a love, right? So if you love what you do, it's what you do, right? I don't complain about it. There's been times where I did things for wedding parties, right?
mm-hmm.
Where they'll come in last minute and we'll get it all done, before their day comes. So it's one of them things where, man, it's just a love and a passion of mine. And so
Mm-hmm.
whatever I need to do to get the job done, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah,
It's
and,
as
and
simple as
that's
that.
so that
And
that's
you
a
and there's no complaining out of me.
right.
None.
Just do it.
Just
Just
do
do
it, man. Because at the end of the day, when you're in the servicing business, right?
it. Mm-hmm.
Retail business,
Mm-hmm.
this is all about serving the customer, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't serve the customer and you have an attitude because you got to work a couple hours later, man, listen, I remember being in the store, brother, where,
Mm.
Easter time, we was 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, still in the store, and still people are coming in. You know what I mean? So those were the golden days, man. Those were some good days. That didn't come around often, but when it came around, we couldn't complain, you know?
Mm. Yeah, and stuff. Do you have a strategy for designing seasonal items or?
Well, so what happens if we talk about custom, they come out with seasonal stuff. So this is what they're featuring now. You can either jump on board or do some other things on your own, right? So
Mm-hmm.
following the trend of fabric and colors and stuff like that, pretty much what happens is when people see these things, man, they automatically gravitate to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you pretty much my position is that I want to be in the same family with what's going on in the fabric and in the garment district. Okay.
Mm.
Um, there is times where you can actually, if somebody's coming in with something totally different that's not in the quorum of what's going on, they can definitely get some things done. But we try to follow a trend. You know what I mean? And make sure that people see what's up and coming and new.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you ever went where somebody said, "Hey, somebody already designed that suit like that. You copy it."
No, not at all.
Mm.
Not at all.
That's
You know what I
good.
mean? Yeah, I don't have those problems, man. Now, well, you talk about retail items, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some that, being having vendors and stuff like that, and I'm not the only one using that vendor. Oh yeah, you're gonna get some duplicates, right?
Right.
But custom, no sir.
No.
No sir. No sir. You're not catching me making nothing that somebody else already has, you know what I mean? Not no.
And,
No,
that,
I haven't had that. Haven't had it, and hopefully I'll
and
never run across that.
that's a blessing. And we're just going to change the tone now from your
Mhm.
love for clothes and designing to your mentorship.
Yes, yes.
You have a love for that mentorship, and tell us how that kind of graduated from the clothing to the kids.
Yeah. So, funny thing, man, is so everything really stemmed from, retail clothing, right?
Hmm.
So wanted to impact the youth. One of the gentlemen that was working for me at the time, his family, it's like a son to me. And so, son to me and my family. So, um, he's always been in our life. And so what we did was offer him an opportunity to come to work, keep him out of trouble. Right.
Hmm.
And so, my wife was one of the ones that was like a surrogate godparent. And
Hmm.
so that's why he was always in our life. So we gave him the opportunity to come to the store, work in the store. And so from that, I was able to mentor him and get him on track, keep him on track. One of the great things that I saw as he was growing in the business was oftentimes where he left school and came directly to work. And
Hmm.
so But by the time he got there, he couldn't work for like 1 or 2 hours because he was getting there so late. So he
Mm.
decided, he and I, to whatever you gonna put on for that day, take it to school with you. Before you leave school, be dressed, get on the bus, and get to work. Right.
Mhm, mhm.
So this gentleman here started doing that, and because he's a tall guy, 6'4", most of the teachers thought he was a teacher. So now, yeah. So now they got this kid walking around the school, fully dressed, suit on, blazers on, and coming to work, right? And so for him, um, he learned the business. I was able to teach him, and so I kept that going. So when he graduated from school, he went on and did his thing. I began to. I was in the schools anyway, for career days and things of that nature, speaking to the young folks, always getting young men coming up. How do I get in the business? How do I do this? How do I do that? So I began to employ them, right?
Mm,
Yeah, so that was a good niche for me. Twofold. I get young people working and teach them the business. That way it never goes away, right?
mm,
So that's pretty much, where I started. And so
mhm,
now I'm being in the school, seeing the same thing. But it's also I'm seeing the negative also because I'm there all the time. Before
mm,
I would go visit different schools, right? I'd be in and out,
mhm,
but I'm stationary. And so, one of the things that I hit you fellas to was how much these young people need us,
right.
right? And that's important, right? We don't really understand it a lot of times because we're so caught up in dealing with our family
Yeah,
that we
right.
don't quite understand the dynamics that goes on in school, right?
Mhm,
And so this is one of the reasons why I wanted to impact our communities is
mhm,
because um, they need us. They need us, and they don't realize they need us, right?
mhm,
Um, we don't know how much and how good of an impact we can make on these kids. We don't. Um,
mhm,
these kids could be off one day, and tomorrow
mhm,
they don't forgot all about what they did.
mm,
You know what I mean? And so they're willing to shake your hand, give you a hug, you know what I mean, and then go about their day. So,
mm,
what better thing for us to do? I felt the strong pull because number one, I feel like I'm at the age where I can pour into them. And if we
right,
don't pour into them, who's going to pour into them?
right,
If the
right.
parents are not around or the father's not around, who's going to do it?
Mhm,
Is it going to be you? Is it going to be
right.
me? Who is it going to be? And
Mhm,
that market of need is great.
mhm,
I mean, it's
mhm,
vast, you know. And so what we're gonna do, going out into the communities and things of that nature, is just to see if we can render some help. It's not
mhm,
always financial, right?
right.
It's more the input, the talks, the sitting down, the caring, what conversations we have, what's your ambitions. These are the
Mhm,
type of things that we want to be able to go back to the community that we come from, right?
right,
And check on the kids, man, because nobody's looking after them, man. They
right.
raising themselves. They're doing things, man, that we did and worse. So
Mm.
it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and they took some of those things out the school too. You talked about at the beginning, like home economics,
Yeah.
and you remember
Good point.
woodwork and
Yeah.
stuff for that, and so now we just have basic subjects. We don't have those skills that encourage us of entrepreneurship, to really do things for unless we get into like a technical high school,
Right.
which we have limited ability there
That's correct.
and
That's
and,
correct.
and stuff for it. And we do have to pour back in there. And I think you being in that school, you see so much stuff happening, and the kids growing up by themselves, and
Right.
the TV's the babysitter. you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you
If it's not
know,
the TV, it's a telephone.
it's a telephone and
Yeah.
stuff, and they don't have that time where they can sit down and learn a trade or understand another way to really generate funds
Yeah.
for themselves or make a living
Right.
if it don't work out to be 100%
Right.
be in that classroom and stuff. And right, I mean, just seeing those kids like that, and do you think that they really want help, or they're just looking for answers?
Well, I would say, and that's an excellent question. Um, but I would actually challenge any
Mm-hmm.
adult, male or female, especially the males, to go into the schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that question you just asked, it ain't a question for me. Oh, they would be in dire strait to use your services, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where once you see them, okay, they're gonna put up a resistance. But if you're able to sustain and keep coming back, guess what? That wall that they put up, it becomes lower.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They no longer have a wall up keeping you out. Now, will they
Mm-hmm.
have some bad days? Absolutely, they will. But
Mm-hmm.
that level of respect, that level of wanting you to come back. Here's what I used to get all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I go into a different school because I started out bouncing around to the different schools,
Mm-hmm.
substituting. Kid will come up to me, any school, it didn't matter, and say, "Mr. Turner, are you gonna come back tomorrow?" If I say I'm not sure, I probably won't. Man, they had the biggest attitude you could see, man. Upset, upset. Now I got smarter because it happened to me a couple of times. So I said, I didn't want to lie to him. I said, I probably will be back. Okay,
Right.
you gonna teach our class? Now see the
Mm-hmm.
body language is different. Yeah, you gonna come back? Oh, you gonna be in our class again tomorrow? Happy, excited. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's real. It's
Mm-hmm.
real.
And
And
that's a
don't,
relationship. That's a
yeah,
relationship. You
all in
know,
a day, all in a day's time now. You see what I'm
and
saying?
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. How do you develop that so quickly? Because it takes people some time to build trust and relationships in people.
It is, man, but you got to be genuine. So when you
Ooh,
genuine with it, right? The kids understand it. The kids see it. Now, when you fake, they're gonna let
right.
you know. They're gonna let you know.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be real with it. I've turned several brothers on or people on to the program, and they're in the school now. The first day, one of the guys called me and said, "You know what, Raj?" He said, "You were 100% correct in what you were telling me." He said, "I've seen it already. The kids needing a commitment from you, saying that you're gonna come back, or you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, or you're gonna help me with my homework. Will you be here tomorrow to help me? You know what I mean?" He
Mm-hmm.
saw it first, and I never told him any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I wanted
Mm-hmm.
him to go and have his own experience and not be looking for the same experience I had. But he got what I got, and that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah,
was
and
awesome.
and as I had one comment, they tell you in a second, go kick rocks.
Yeah, yeah, and they will tell you, and that's the easy version.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Right, right.
kind of calm. Well, yeah, they'll tell you get somewhere now.
Yeah, yeah, and stuff. And I'm encouraging any man out there, for our young men out here, reach out to our schools. You see, the Turner Fashion House. Even if we're not talking about clothing, reach out to somebody that's mentoring these kids every day.
Mhm.
Roger's out there in them schools. I know he's fighting a challenge because he's one person.
Right,
He's one person, and it's a lot of them coming up, and we want to be able to save our young men
yeah,
right now and do some
right now.
things.
Yeah, yeah.
You-
And if I could, man, just put a
mhm,
plug in for the
mhm.
Father's House, right?
Yeah,
That you actually had given the word to say yes, I'll be a
yeah.
part. And this organization is the birth child of what we're talking about. And
Hmm.
so, with that in mind, we want to take these young people and give them an opportunity to be mentored. And if they have a particular field that they would want to go in, we're going to try to get their help and support for them. You know what I mean? Get them on the right track before they leave school, right?
Right.
Give them an opportunity to do some career seeking so that
Hmm.
they can actually see what they really want to do, and see if we can support them in it. I think the meeting that we had, Brother Johnny, that was
Yeah, yeah,
very successful, very impactful. And what
absolutely.
we're doing right now, those that are on right now, what we're doing is recruiting uh,
Hmm.
adult men, right, that can come and help and support. When you go into the Father's house, you can go ahead and link up with us, be a partner with us, and we're still working some things out. Um, we're going to be growing. This thing is going to grow like wildflowers. I trust me on that because we're doing a good work in the community. So you know, yeah, just get on board with us and see if we can't go back into the communities and get some raving results and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Roger, you had a question. They said, "Where's it located? How can they get involved? Or what do they
So
do?"
go on to the Father's house, the link, sign
Mhm.
up, and we'll give you information on where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing. A lot of these things right now are new, and so it's going to be continued.
Mhm.
So by you linking up with us, we'll be able to shoot you some information, and that way you can know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and we're gonna ask Chuck to put that in the www.thefathershouse.com. Put that in there so we can reach out. We accept in any man that wants to make a commitment.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
that want to make a commitment that's gonna want to change these kids' life around. We're not promising that it's gonna be easy. We're not gonna
That's
tell
for
you it's
sure.
gonna be light. It's gonna be a challenge for us to reach out to them. And as Roger said, you got to be genuine with it. You got to be real and let
Hmm.
them know that you understand the hustle.
Yeah,
The hustle is real out here,
real.
but we want to provide some solutions for you.
Yeah,
Uh, as you talk about, like Roger was talking about, he brought that young man in, dressed him up so he can come to work. Those are things that probably change that man's life because
right.
now,
Yeah,
if you look good, you feel good.
absolutely. That's right. That's right.
If you look good, you feel good. And we're trying to reach out to them because we see so much happening out here in our community and the commitment. That's right. That we need to start changing and making a move on what we're doing. We need to go out there and invest in time. We're not talking about just throwing money at a problem here.
Right.
Will we need funding for some things? Absolutely. We're not telling you that that's not part of the key. But I can't give a kid $20 and tell them to start to say act right now. It
That
ain't
won't
gonna
work.
work. Because when that $20 is gone, what happens?
Right.
They go back to the same behavior of growing. For all the men out there that grew up and you knew that you had some type of father figure, you had some type of skill trade you got coming out of high school, you had something that you can really account for to go out here in this workforce and make a decent living, come on out. Share those experiences with these young men because they need to hear some real stories. We
Yeah.
had a great conversation about real stories of where we came up, what we did. I went to private school 12 years. I didn't understand the struggle until I joined the military. And then when I joined the military, I understood the struggle was real
Yeah.
because out here in these streets, is so much things that challenge you and you want to fit in with alcohol, drugs, um, doing anything to be sociable out here. And then guess what? It's no benefit to it. It takes us years to get right and
Hmm.
forward. So we don't want that same regimen to go along with these men coming up now because we can pass this stuff on to them. And
Hmm.
while we passing it on, they can grow. We got
Yeah.
young fathers out here. Young fathers out here, they don't know how to make it.
Right.
They out there doing the best thing possible. Is it legal? Is it illegal? It's both ways,
Yeah.
but guess what? They thinking about their family
Yeah.
because they know where they're coming from
Mhm.
for the stuff. And Roger, you see that where some of these men just, you know,
Yeah.
don't have the father figures.
Right. Right. I
Don't
mean,
have a man to talk to them.
right. I think one of the things I'm often talking to young ladies and the fellas about is this. Um, for the young ladies that's raising little boys, and some of this is coming from the school system that desire my help after school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the things I often want to talk about is where's the father, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can have dialogue with them. Because what's happening is, if the family's off, is number one is because the father's not in the home, and the child is suffering because they want a relationship with the parent, right?
Right.
And so I'm often talking to them about the reason why your child is misbehaving. The reason why we can do better is if we collectively come together. We ain't condemning nobody. We ain't trying to beat
Right.
nobody down, but add a opportunity and a resource so that these gentlemen can actually link up and we can begin to support them in whatever's going on in their household, right?
Mm-hmm.
May not be married to the lady. It may have been a one night stand, and who cares? The kids are at stake. And so
Right.
we want to be able to come together, have some real life solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to get the job done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my conversation is always, what can we do to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Within the school limits, because again, I'm not set up. That's why I called on you, brothers, because I'm
Yeah.
getting a lot of information from folks that desire me to come and be one on one with their child. But again, I have kids that I mentor already, and my
Mm-hmm.
plate is full, so I need support.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one, and I got one high school,
Mm-hmm.
but that's enough. You know what I mean? So collectively,
Mm-hmm.
any man that wants to join, just look to do whatever we can for all of them, not just one particular one, because you may be good at one thing, and it could be that very thing that he's interested in. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So we don't want to shun anybody. We want everybody to come and be a part of
Mm-hmm.
this, man. So it takes a lot of that labor off of one person trying to do everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the Lord really, has been blessing, and I reason why I say that because it's only Him that allowed me to open my eyes to see another opportunity, another way to really impact the community. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
then not be selfish and share the wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be able to be in a position where other men with like mind, and we need like-minded men. We don't need anybody coming in being a strong arm saying I can do this and
Right.
that. And I want to be
Right.
this. And I want to be. We don't need that.
Right.
We just need some shoulders to stand on. We
Mm-hmm.
need some ideas that are coming out that are positive for the group, not just for one individual. This
Right.
is a group effort. This is not an
That's right.
individual effort.
Effort.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
um,
and
come
and
out.
Randall put out a good comment out there. It
Okay.
takes a village to raise the kids, and we have to be our own village. We
Yes.
can't expect no one else to do it, and that's so perfect, Randall Robinson, man. That it takes some folks out here to stand in the gap,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
that gap is huge,
Hmm.
for it, and we see so much stuff happening to young men out here, and people don't understand why.
Right.
Why they want to do this? Why they want to sell drugs? Why they out there trying to just steal and rob and stuff? It's called providing.
Yeah.
As all men, we have to provide.
Yeah.
It don't say how we provide. We have to provide,
Yeah.
and and when we start thinking about providing,
You do
um,
what you gotta do.
you got to do what you got to do to
Yeah.
get it done,
Yeah.
for it and stuff, and that's what that's a big object of the Father's house right now that we talking about.
Right.
We talking about something that was given to Roger that he's not going to turn an eye on, some
Right.
direction that God led him to believe on something that he's fulfilling right now. We have to be intentional in what we're
Absolutely.
doing,
And
and
that
if
it,
we're
man.
not intentional,
If we ain't intentional, man, don't show up. That
that's
means
it.
man,
Stay
this is
stay at
real,
home.
man.
Stay
This
at
is
home.
real. Yeah.
And today we was out, and I was working with NAVETS. Y'all see my NAVETS hat on today, and we got Operation um deep cold. And what we mean by that, we got homeless people out here without coats and stuff on. And we was out here giving out coats today just to folks, veterans, homeless folks. So we know that they care. They out here, they done had a hard way in life. But guess what? They don't have to die trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
So as we talk about the Father's house, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that needs to be done out in these communities.
Right.
And we have to really stand forth. I encourage y'all to reach out to the Father's House, www.thefathershouse.com. Send your comments. Let them know that you want to volunteer. Let them know if you sponsor. We're going to have people, and we understand that people want to throw money at it. We'll find an avenue to utilize that so we can help those folks as well. But we want some commitments out here.
Yeah.
That's gonna get us to that next vision for our folks out here, because money don't always change people's mind. Money
That's right. It don't mean nothing.
Other stuff. Nicole said that with what's going on today in the White House, kids need to be looking to each other for help and solutions to how to survive during these challenging times. That is the honest to goodness truth.
That is. Brother Johnny, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was coming through with that, because that's the most important thing right there, man. That was like the icing on the cake for me,
right?
To do this, right? We can't expect anybody to do anything for us, and we not do it for ourselves, right? So we got to be able to be in a position, because we know the odds has always been against us, always. So why are we looking to a person or a people that we feel like should be taking care of us? Every president that's ever been a president in the United States of America has never had us in mind. So if we don't stick up and show out for our own people, then what are we doing?
Absolutely.
Right? We can't expect nobody pouring no money into our community. Build the daggone community up ourselves, right?
That's
and it starts by, just small things. Cutting the grass instead of walking all on. You know what I mean? Keeping doorknobs on your door because it's just swinging and swinging and swinging. I mean, this is small stuff.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? This is small things. So that's all in building up the community. It's not just one thing. It's just not the kids. It's just not. It's more than just doing the small thing. We can always do whatever we can.
Yeah, and I tell myself, I'm newly married again. I got an 11-year-old, and I'm encouraging him. Go in there with a good attitude. Learn how to do the little things that mean a lot. Go out here and be a valuable impact to society. Proud of him every day he comes, shows love, he tries the hardest. As Randall said, our young kids today are very impressionable. If you could just touch one, but not just one, touch all the young men, if you're going to go in the NBA, that's your dream. If you ain't going to the NFL, that's your dream. Aim high. Don't let no one discourage you. I tell you what you can do. Do want to be a lawyer? Be the best lawyer you can. If you want to be a doctor, let no one steal your dreams. Will tell you what you can do by disguise. The sky's the limit, but you got to put the work into so you can get there. And that's so good, Randall. Don't let nobody discourage these kids, even if it seems a far reach. Encourage them that, hey, that's possible, and this is the avenue you have to take out here, so we can keep that moving. And man, the Father's house is the way to start. We're starting here. Roger's being intentional today. He's been intentional since the beginning to go out here to reach these young men and let them know he can't do it by himself. Amen. Somebody gotta come and stand in that gap. Encourage that next man that out there that done struggled, that done made it over. Come out and spend some time with these kids.
Yeah.
And do something good.
Yeah. Be surprised at what kind of results come out of this. You never know.
Yeah, for it and stuff. And don't forget the www, the Turner Fashion House, as well. As you can see that not only is he designing, making clothes and stuff, he utilizing resources he's making for the kids. He's giving them an opportunity to learn something, to go back and see that the entrepreneurship that he put through, he's putting in the hard work. He's showing them that it's going to be late nights, sewing, putting this together, meeting time frames and stuff. And guess what? They see that. But, you might want to consider out there and just ask Roger, it's a kid out there that might need a suit to go to church, that might need a nice outfit for school pictures or something to that effect. Reach out to the Father's House or turnerfashionhouse.com so we can see how we can go ahead and use our resources to reach these young men out here and get them to the next step of the journey. Everybody needed a push at some point in time in their life. It's your time to go ahead and give somebody else a push. And before we start to get a little bit over that, oh boy, I have a 12-year-old. And Isabel, with that 12-year-old, we're going to have some things in place that maybe we can help him as well, mentor and guide him and give him that support he needs as he reaches that next level in that doctor, lawyer, firefighter, designer, whatever he wants to do. We want our young men out here to be a valuable asset in society. And Raj, if you just want to close us out with some good words here for tonight, man, I'm just so thankful and honored for the opportunity to get you on here, just to share that vision and that entrepreneurship with us.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you guys for actually having me on. I appreciate that. I'm always willing to, come on and talk about what the Lord has been doing in my life. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be positive things when we have the Lord involved. But I'm just so grateful for what He's doing in my life. When people see us as a very present help in the community, we want to be able to be fair about what we're doing, right? Don't be fake about it. So I'm just grateful that you guys had me on, and looking forward to building this business with you. And with anybody that's willing to jump on board with us, we'll have some information on the site. Put your information in, name, phone number, all that good stuff. And we'll be able to give you some of the minutes and information about what we're doing and invite you out. So come join us.
Come join us.
Come join us.
And we're here for it. We're going to keep spreading the love. We're going to use other folks that's involved in this with me and Roger and some of those other gentlemen you're going to see on this podcast, because we're not stopping. We're encouraging somebody that's going to have that opportunity, that's really want to indulge and help these young men grow as well. And we also not going to forget our young women out here as well, as we're going to have some women that's going to help guide them along their journey as well to be the best they can be out here, that best ideal person out in this community, so they can be valued by society and valued to the work they're going to do in the society. Folks, it's always my pleasure. I'm excited. I'm real passionate about helping the community, doing stuff in the community, helping folks find resources for it. So this is Creative Financing with JB, another Tuesday, another outstanding commentary that we have. Y'all can see this on YouTube again if y'all want to, but we will definitely see you next week as we come to. Y'all have a great night. Thanks again.